number 12 through 18. I can't touch this thing because there's some kind of chemical on it, but it's still messing up a little bit. Um, Remember in 19, it says that the sun is like the bridegroom. God pitched a tent in the sky in the heavens for the sun, and the heavens are proclaiming his glory, and it's like a bridegroom, like a champion rejoicing to run his course. Okay, so the ideal man, the top martial artist, the champion, right? And Psalm 24 says, who is God, who is the King of the glory? It's the Lord mighty in battle, right? Not running a race, not a runner, not a sports guy. Spirit and spirit, right, are connected, right? The spirit something and the spirit. Okay, they're messing up my movements right now. A few me and so on and so forth. Okay, also, it's transferable, translatable, universal, communicable, right? Communication, and convertible skills for actual combat. And if you look at other guys these days, there are constant weird beta stuff, left, right, and middle. They're weirdos, and they're fuming me and trying to make it so I seem like them in some kind of weird game that they're playing. So again, 19 talks about the bridegroom is the champion, right? It compares it to the sun. Remember, in part one I went over the rain clouds and burning coals of sulfur, scorching wind, right? The sun is, they're reacting to the martial art order and God choosing me. Remember Psalm 2, why do the nations conspire and plot in vain? He's chosen his anointed. He's the top martial artist. Nature has brought me forth. He's chosen me. Why are they plotting in vain? Why are they making flesh-based arguments and stupid Western psychological construct-based arguments and so on and so forth? Because they never grew up. They're scared to man up and obey God even though life is short. Okay, and again, Psalm 24, who is the King of glory, the Lord mighty in battle. Who truly has the glory? It is the top martial artist, mighty in battle, moral combat, spiritual, moral, romantic, and mental combat. Okay, actual combat, mind you. Actually me living my life by moral principles, being sabotaged, making my top martial arts challenges over 8 years now, up to $4 million if I'm compensated, 40,000 if I'm not. So overkilling that it must be me while everyone else is doing the wrong thing and avoiding these arguments. Okay. So Psalm 12, only people with deception in their hearts remain. The poor are plundered, the needy groan. So God arises to protect the righteous, and what is vile is honored. Okay, so I arise to protect the righteous movement, as known as obeying God through me. So anyone who would obey God through me would be protected and would leave this planet with me one way or another. Okay, as Paul said, I believe, where it says they're going to be gathered up in a cloud, which again is the warrior spirit of God. It also is fuzzy. To some people, it's a dark cloud. They can't really see. It's just darkness. To some people, they get to the essence of it, which is the brightness of God's presence, symbolized by the sun, etc., etc. Okay. So God's word is flawless, like pure silver and gold refined in a furnace 7 times. So obviously, their theater art nonsense is not flawless. My argument is flawless. 13. Okay, David's wrestling with his thoughts, and he's thinking that the enemies might say that they overcame unless purity is rewarded. So unless the righteous acts of God are proclaimed correctly, people are going to pretend that they did the right thing. So it goes back to Jacob wrestling with God as well, where it's wrestling in his thoughts. He didn't actually wrestle with God. It's a metaphor. It symbolizes this idea. Okay. 14. The fool says there is no God in his heart. No one does good. They devour God's people as though eating bread. Bread, remember, symbolizes God's presence. It's also said in the ancient world that bread symbolizes the heart. Okay, and the wicked are frustrating the plans of the poor. So they're keeping the poor from doing God's work, from rallying to me and obeying and becoming one with God. Okay, however, the poor are expected to do certain things, to live their life a certain way, since they bred a certain way to put themselves far from me and not know who I am. Okay, their offspring are being punished, right? And how much they're punished depends on exactly what they do when they're far away. And those who are aware of what's going on, them and their offspring are punished more. All right, 15. One whose walk is blameless. Okay, remember, there's tech, sabotage. I'm still the voice of reason all my life. You see it. I have clips of me when I'm like 17, audio clips at least. In songs, I have 12 years of making videos. It's clear that I've been trying to reason with the world with moral precision for many, many years, all my life, basically. All my life since about 10 years old, since it was expected, right? All right, Who does what is right and who speaks the truth from their heart. Okay, so the one whose walk is blameless, does what is right, speaks the truth from their heart, may dwell on the mountain and the sacred tent. Remember in Psalm 19 it says, in the heavens God has pitched a tent for the sun. It is like a champion, like a bridegroom. Goliath is said to be the champion and the hero of the Philistines. David was the champion, the hero of the Israelites, the Jews, and Saul was supposed to face Goliath but didn't. Okay, that was his responsibility. He's supposed to champion. He's supposed to embody the intense warrior spirit. He wasn't the true warrior king. The reason why kings wear swords. Saul was a tall guy. There's a lot of things there that scream that that is the case, and the people who described it that way in their commentary were correct about that part. All right. Where was I? He also despises a vile person. So someone like me despises the vile people and despises the attractive women who date him and make it seem like they're doing the right thing by getting the trophy wife, right? When a noble, prudent wife is from the Lord, a fair weather bitch who shuns me for scum of this world, okay, and who play wordplay, kind of mage, kind of stupid games instead of manning up and facing reality. They live in the psychological construct and talk about corporate norms, police, law, military, intelligence agencies, school, okay, kind of political party, you know, what have you, social norms of this world. Okay, it's pathetic to see some Babs Bunny ass bitch choose them. You get my point. All right, 16. And I'm saying that in response to what they're doing right now. They tend to do things like fume me more if I start to say something they don't like. It's a long story why that is. And of course, people are playing stupid like bitches, acting like governments were the sabotage, the top martial artists ever, son of 2 doctors, 1 a brain surgeon, and acts like I must be crazy or something's fucking retarded. You listen to my argument, you know I'm not crazy, and you know they're on some bitch ass shit. Pretty straightforward. All right. 16. Holy people are the nobles. People who run after false gods suffer more and more. God counsels and instructs through the heart. So this is key. So through the heart. So the heart is pure. He's allowed to approach the mountain of God. I'm allowed to connect to God because what I'm doing is right. My heart is pure. It's reflected through my life, through my actions. It's weighed by God. It's examined by God. So God allows me to approach him, and he's instructing me through my heart. Even though they're sabotaging me, I'm still doing heartfelt, righteous things, even though they're using advanced technology and so on and so forth. So the noble people, again, are the holy people. Those who go after false idols, like American Idol, right? Presidents, celebrities, people allowed to look good and dress in fancy schmancy clothes and look clean and hygienic and so on and so forth. Okay, utter scum, right? Jesus wasn't even washing his hands at one point in the Bible when he was eating food. Not that I do the same, but it's overkilling that you don't look to the guys in the nice suit with the Mercedes and BMW and you know who are polite and seem like they're in cheerful mood. Right? It's a Luciferian trash. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so God instructs the heart, counsels instructs the heart. With God at his right hand, he is not shaken. God makes known to him and me the path of life. He fills us with the joy of God's presence. Basically, there are eternal pleasures that come with being at God's right hand. So David's a character in the story, again, that we don't know whether or not he existed, but he's superimposed on the idea of a righteous man. Even if he existed and they wrote this in the story, which I do not believe. I believe it's a Royal African Falcon martial art order that Jews kind of left Egypt. They had contact with the Igbos and them, and they kind of wrote themselves into the story and put themselves in the story like people all over the world did. It's a long story why that is. You know them by their fruits, by their works. You know, when Martin Luther King was doing his thing, where's the famous Jews? We can go every step through history. You'll see that I'm right. All right, anyway, where was I? No offense to those people and anyone else, but the truth must be told. And on top of that, the rest of the world is not even doing anything that is respectable. They're just conforming, and everyone knows it. So, you know, I don't know why they'd be mad at me about that. And of course, they're doing bitch shit trying to make. I'm not afraid of the Jews. God is at my God is at my right hand, and I'm at God's right hand. Do you think I'm afraid of anybody? Or do you think they're using technology like bitches to edit my voice and things like that and fume me and cause my voice to tremble to make it seem like I'm scared of these worms? Okay, it's pathetic that they would do things like that, but that's the kind of worms you people follow, and that's part of why I despise the vile, as it says in Scripture, and I just went over. Anyway, so I'm running out of time, so where are we here? So 17, my prayers are not from deceitful lips. God examines me at night. My steps have kept to God's path. I have not stumbled. Okay, they've done nonsense stuff like they did just now, but it's not the same as stumbling. You know, when I started off in my life, started hanging out with thugs because everybody was basically a thug on the planet. Okay, and I was looking for who's the most sincere about God and trying to live my life, trying to find love and so on and so forth. And that's neither here nor there. Okay, so the wonders of the right hand that save are wonders of great love. Those who are callous-hearted people ambush like a lion. The sluggard in Proverbs says the sluggard says there's a lion in the street. He's too afraid to do God's work because he's afraid to get hurt by these people. God saves by the sword and hand and places him in the shadow. He conceals him by his heart under his wings, right? In the shadow of God's wings. Okay. LGBT occultists twist and are trying to take credit, and I'm sure the LGBT community can understand why when these people persistently do these things with their allies, that I have to bring that up to do God justice. Anyway, 18. See, God is a rock, a shield, a stronghold, etc. As the cords of death and the torments of death had David. Okay, so this part's key. This is very key. It will shed light on Jesus coming back on a cloud again, and understand the difference between those who see God as evil because they're evil, and God is shrewdly dealing with them, and they're like, okay, and they're acting evil as a result, and like cowards and not like warriors. And those who truly understand the essence of God, the brightness of his presence, the core of his light, the essence of who God actually is. And God has revealed himself to those people only. They have pure of heart, they see God, Matthew 5. They have eyes to see, ears to hear, so on and so forth. The other guys are the blind and the lame, 2 Samuel 5, and so on and so forth. Anyway, so God comes down. He has smoke coming from his nostrils and a consuming fire from his mouth. So the wicked people see God as the devil. They see that as a dragon, a fire-breathing dragon. But pay close attention, you'll see why I'm right. Okay, and a consuming fire from his mouth. Burning coals come out of his mouth, and God parted the heavens with dark clouds under his feet. It's like the earth is his footstool, right? Under his feet, right? Those who are from the footstool think of him as darkness, but they're just under his feet. They're focusing, they're looking down, right? He advances like the clouds. Remember, it says that in Jeremiah. Darkness is a covering and a canopy around him, and there are dark rain clouds of the sky. Then again, they're raining fiery coals, burning sulfur, and a scorching wind on the wicked. Psalms 11 says that. Out of the brightness of his presence, clouds advance with him. Okay, hailstones and bolts of lightning thundered from heaven. His voice, the essence of his message. Part of why they changed my voice, they're called the flesh ninnies. They think like, oh, well, change the voice so you don't hear the voice of God. And of course, I sounded a lot more like God before they edited my voice and poisoned me and changed my voice in reality as well. Okay, so his voice resounded. Okay, sick people fuming, and my voice went over there. Okay, he shot arrows and scattered the enemy with bolts of lightning. He routed them. Notice when God comes back, he's shooting arrows. Jesus comes back on the cloud, the right hand of God. It's shooting arrows, bolts of lightning. This is martial arts stuff. Lightning strikes. His strikes are fast as lightning. Bolts of arrows, right? Arrows. Alpha, Rho. Okay, Ra meaning God, not the pagan deity. It's a long story why that word is used. Israel, Abraham, Abraham. Champion has the word Ham in it. See, Ham, Pi, On. On is Heliopolis, Ra's call center, where Joseph was given his wife, Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, the priestess, the high priest of Ra. Okay. Anyway, so where are we here? So Psalm 7 says, God sharpens his sword and bends his bow. He has prepared his deadly spiritual weapons, especially flaming arrows. God rescued him and rescued me. He dealt with me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanliness of my hands. He rewarded me. To the faithful and pure, God shows himself faithful and pure. To the devious, he shows himself shrewd. I went over that earlier. He keeps the Christ lamp burning, seen by those who have pure hearts and spirit eyes. He helps David in righteous advance against Croup, arms him with strength, keeps his way secure, and trains his hands for battle. It goes as far as to say he trains his hand for battle. It's a martial art God training the king who is a martial artist, and the essence of it is the spirit martial artist, mind, body, soul, and spirit. He trains his hand for battles. Okay, he talks about how his arms can bend a bow of He can spiritually bend a bow of bronze. God's right hand arms him with strength, and he beats his enemies as fine as wind-blown dust. He tramples them like mud. The rain clouds, causing the mud to come. Spiritually, metaphorically speaking, he avenges them, subdues natures under me. God gives his king's great victory and a true love.